What we have here is a failure to communicate. Alright, that's working. Alright, so I got this here little jig. My little jig. And what we're doing here, I've done two already, but I'm going to replace, I went through my used lifters. No, none of the, or tappet assemblies, none of the lifters were collapsed that I saved. But I didn't like the wheels, I didn't like the feel of the wheels. And man, when you're adding horsepower and torque to something, these things here, they rip cam covers apart. And of course breather gears, right? We just had two engines where I had to go 30 thou over on both breather gears. So this is the Bender cycle, and it's a good little jig. So basically, now here you got to watch out for this. When you put it in your vise, you got to watch out. See these pins? And make sure you lube the pins. I got snot on there. But you see the pins? So you got to be careful when you put it in your vise how far you squish it. Otherwise you're just pushing on the pins and you will break the pins. So what you do is, you can do two at once. What you do is you get that tappet body in there, and not too tight. You don't have to go tight. See, I can move it if I want, right? You just want it snug. Okay? And this is 13/64 bit, I believe, or number 7, which, yeah, 13/64. It's a number 7 bit. I'm using a cobalt bit because they cut really nice. If you buy this kit from Bender Cycle, they give you the cheesy drill bit. Whatever. It is what it is. And so it's an idiot-proof jig. Thank God. And you just run her in. And you do both sides. You don't actually have to do the second side because you're going to be pushing that pin out of that side. But you see, I went in about 1/16 of an inch there. Whoop. Probably just a little more. I don't know. Can you see my depth? Anyways, so I drilled both sides anyways. And then I like to take a look. Well, I took a little more meat off this one, so this is going to be my punch side. And then I got an old drill bit here. It's smaller than the drill bit that we used to drill the hole, of course. And we'll just punch her out. Punch her out, man. Yeah, a second here. I don't know if that changes the angle of our situation or not. The situation angle. I know. Fucking. Alright, so if you can see that. Anyways, I drilled a little bit more. You only need to go about 1/16 of an inch, but I find going just a hair more is better. That's what she said. And then punch. Now the only thing you don't want to do when you drill is you don't want to start drilling into the you don't want to start drilling into the body. Right? Okay. So that's why you don't want to drill too far. You need that tapered hole in the body. Now, of course the bearings are going to spill out on me. But we don't care because they no good no more. Now I didn't take the lifters out. Alright, hey, I left the lifters in, but they are coming out. I'm going to be cleaning them and then re-oiling them. Now like I say, these aren't brand new. These, well, of course not. These are what they are, but it was the best ones I had because the ones Tommy had were fugly, just fugly. So knock this one out. Woohoo! There we go. Woohoo! And down we go. So now I got two of these babies. And I'm just going to clean the jig. Now in the center of the jig are two hardened bearings. And the new axles you get, they're designed to be peened, obviously. Otherwise you wouldn't be peening them with a couple of bearings at all. Not so good, no. I had one guy say, "Oh, I did that once and it didn't work out." Well, probably because he didn't cross his I's and dot his T's. Well, you know what I'm talking about. So, and you just gotta have zen doing this stuff, and that's what I noticed. Like even back in the day when we were young, being impatient, a lot of guys they just want to slap the part on, go. Go chase chicks, go pose, go uptown Saturday night with their 8-hangers. Which is all fine. I mean, that's what we do when we're young, right? But now this, where you got to be careful. Because you want to get that in there before you spill all the bearings out. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. There we go. I'll do one at a time. Got my new pin. Oh yeah, could you have a bad day and do that? Oh, I bet you could. I bet any one of us could, for sure. So you're just going to find the hole. I know there's no fur around it. Oh, you didn't see that. Oh, you didn't see that. Oh, well. I put the axle in the hole. Sorry about that. We got the other one to do. Now this is where you got to be careful. So what I do is I make sure that whatever gappage I got here, I make sure that my tappet body is centered, not to one side or the other. And then I'll start to bring her down. No, I'm not using a lower leg today, but I will use 1 1/4 inch. Now this is where you got to be careful not to overdo it and end up breaking those 3 pins I was showing you, okay? So what you do if you got one of these or buy one of these units, I don't even know if Bender Cycle's still in business, to tell you the truth. So what you do is you put your unit in the jig, or you put your jig in the unit, and then you bring it in nice and easy with no tappet body in it, and see how far it goes before it touches. Now, I'm only doing this so I don't have to struggle. You can see I bent this before. But I'm checking both sides. One side I like better than the other, so I'm going to put this back in, and I'm going to do it again just to make sure that she's in there. Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is not have enough. Here, let's back that off. Okay, the last thing you want to do is not have enough there, right? And that's why you want to center it and everything else. Now that's tight. She's tight. Take my word for it, she's tight. And this makes me feel a lot better because this is actually what hurts you guys on these older bikes. So now Evolution set of wheels is not the same, of course, as shovel head or pan head. I mean, it's the same, but they're a different size wheel and axle. So what you do is you get the correct one. Alright. There again. Let's get her in there. Bring her up. And I want her centered so they get an even squish on both sides of this axle. Looks pretty good. That looks pretty good right there. And I'll go this way, and then I'll flip it and do it again, just to make sure that I'm as even as I possibly can. I mean, you spend all this time trying to do your best, right? But there's always these little things. And so when you work as hard as you can on these to make sure all your little things are covered, you got less little things that are, if you understand what I'm saying. There we go. You know, because perfect. I think God might be perfect, but you sure the hell aren't. Neither am I. Okay, and so basically that's the procedure for doing up these bearings. Like I say, you know, we used to buy, like, you could get Eastern lifters for, now I might be thinking of solids, but like, and Eastern's a US company, and they make some good Harley parts. I've used them as my seconds. I built a mini stroker one time, and I did lose the bearings out of one of my Eastern ones. This is years ago, right? Shit, what did he have on there? Probably had a couple thousand miles on there. But it happened. The bike got shut down. It didn't hurt the breather gear. It didn't do any serious damage whatsoever. So we were really blessed on that one. Yeah, and you only get the one cut out on those, on your cases. I mean, after that 30 thou, that's it, right? Now, could you fill that hole with weld or re-welder? Fuck, I bet you could, because it's a Harley. It's aluminum, right? And that's all it is. So I've got to clean these bearings now. I'm going to pull out the lifters out of these tappet bodies. I'm going to clean everything, but won't be using any kind of chemicals on the actual lifters themselves, and then I'll reinstall them. Yeah, because you got packing grease and stuff in these bearings, right? So I'll pull out the lifter, take the tappet body. I got that little tank I got over there. That's my clean tank, so that whenever I'm balancing or anything or working on cranks and that, a lot of times to keep bearings in their cages and stuff so they don't take off on me when I'm trying to work with them, I'll put some synthetic grease, you know, some Pennzoil or something, just to hold them in cages while I'm doing things. And then, so what I do, that little tub there, wash tub, is just for brand new clean bearings and that kind of thing. So, and yeah, so there you have it. And I already did two before I went on. So that's it. But yeah, Tommy's were looking pretty frickin' ugly. So, you know, you don't want to do all this work. You know, it's bad enough that I didn't do the rods and the crank pin. yeah, you go that far into it, but like if the guy can't afford it, the guy can't afford it. You know, that's all there is to it. But we got everything else, and she's smooth. You know, she's turning smooth. Everything's cool. When I do the oil pump, it's something I didn't show you. When I did the oil pump, all right. Yeah, I explained to you how I put it together. I can't hold the camera, make room for people to see what I'm trying to get in there, putting that stupid clip on, right? But I packed the receiving gears with, or that, yeah, the ones that, you know, those other gears. I bring it back to the pump. I packed them with slicker and snot or engine lube, whatever you pre-build lube. And then before I put this cover on, where's the lube, man? Hey baby, where's the lube? Need more lube. The heck, oh, it's over here. Oh, you know why? Because I was lubing these pins. I'll just bring that jig over with me. So what I like to do is cheat a little bit, and I'll run some lube down, and you can see I already snotted up the gears, and I'll spin this, or spin the engine, right? Let's see here. Get out. Out. Right. And then I'll just pour some of this down the check ball hole, and then it comes out. She'll ooze out. I think you can see it. She oozes from here down in there, and then I just lube those, and then I get my gasket on, and so on and so forth. I will be fixing my gasket to the outside on this part, not this part, and I got that gasket fit to this. So like I say, I only spray the one side. So yeah, that's the update. That's it, that's all.